So, hello and welcome to the Veterans History Project on VPS TV. I am Michael Kobringer and I will be your host today. So, over the past few months, we have been working with district educators and VPS TV to create a series of interviews of veterans who are from Vineland and served in our country's armed forces. This series is a continuation of interviews that are part of historical record of the Vineland Archives Alive project, which documented the history of Vineland through online student-created projects. Today is March 18th, 2013, and we are recording this interview in a TV studio at Vineland High School North. Assisting me today are members of the VPS TV crew, including David Sanchez, Dan Diola, Daniela Villeman, and Ryan Steinbraun. Producer is F. John Sprana, VPS Executive Director of Communications. My guest today is Rafael Marti. He was born on November 17th, 1972, and is 40 years old. Mr. Marti, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, for the record, can you tell us what branch of the military and what war in which you served?
I was in the U.S. Army. I'm a Gulf War era veteran. I did not go overseas to the Gulf War One, obviously, Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. I did not go to. I was busy with Joint Task Force 6, Task Force Hammer, as part of Operation Gallant Rush, which is an operation that dealt with counter-narcotics, drug and addiction.
So did that possibly enhance the possibility of you getting promoted? So like what rank did you hold throughout that?
Well, I was a specialist. I went to PLDC, which was Primary Leadership Development course for my Sergeant Stripes at Fort Drum, New York. I did not re-enlist at that time, so I did not get the Sergeant Stripes pinned on me.
Right.
But it was an interesting experience, to say the least.
So like, I'm aware that the military has like a vast array of bases throughout the world, and where were you stationed during the majority of your stay? Anywhere exciting, like Hawaii?
No, not as exotic as Hawaii. I did serve in Korea a year. That was my last unit of assignment.
In Korea?
Yeah, 2nd Infantry Division, in Camp House, in the Western Corridor near the DMZ.
Near the DMZ?
Yeah.
And that war basically, that conflict arose before you were born. Would you mind telling me where you were born and when?
I was born in November 7, 1972, and I was born here in Vineland. I'm actually a native of Vineland.
Really? Okay.
I've traveled abroad. When I was in the service, I was primarily stationed out of Horsham, Pennsylvania, near the Willow Grove Naval Air Station.
Oh, okay.
At a corporate center.
Corporate center.
I was appointed by the brigade commander, Brigadier General Eddie Z. Zyko, as the administrative and assistant agency security manager for the entire brigade.
Outstanding.
Which involved developing operational procedures, standard operating procedures for operation security, destruction of classified material plans, counterintelligence, and things to that effect.
So to attain all that success in the military, you must have possessed a massive amount of motivation and dedication to duty. Now, what motivated you to join the military in the first place?
I watched too much G.I. Joe as a kid.
Yeah. Were your parents in the military? Like, what did they do for an occupation?
Well, I come from a father who was a farm worker. And he's deceased now. And my mother was a homemaker, housewife. And I couldn't be prouder of the two of them, or my heritage.
And what is your heritage, if I may ask?
Well, I'm American, I'm born and bred,
Absolutely.
Puerto Rican descent.
Okay. Do you have any brothers or sisters at all?
Yes, I'm the youngest of 7.
Wow, it's a gigantic family.
Yeah, the youngest of 7. The oldest one passed when I was about 2 years old.
So do you currently have a large family? Did you marry anybody? Have any children of your own?
I married and subsequently got divorced. No children, though I'm a very proud uncle and godfather.
Outstanding. So, when did you enter the service? When was your time of enlistment?
November 26, 1989. I was 17 years old
So,
when I joined.
how was boot camp for somebody that young?
I loved it.
You loved it?
I loved
Could
it.
you elaborate and explain, what you did daily, your daily procedures?
Well, you get up at dark 30, like they say, 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Actually, I'm familiar with that term. Actually, over the summer, I did like a civil air patrol, encampment, and we couldn't have watches, and we would ask them the time, and they'd be like, "Oh, dark 30," or stuff like that. Is that similar? Like they wouldn't allow you to have like a watch or anything during basic training?
They wouldn't. Not when I went through. When I went through, you couldn't even look at the female soldiers when they walked by.
Really?
They were called Mollies, we were called Joes. Now that I understand, they trained together.
Really? Okay.
You couldn't even look at them. If you looked at them, you were doing push-ups.
So it was very structured, very disciplined. They wanted to, strike a civilian out of you, per se.
Definitely.
But did you benefit from that experience?
I did. I enjoyed it a great deal. I was appointed squad leader after 2 weeks being in there.
Were there any things that you didn't enjoy particularly, like anything that was very, difficult or arduous?
At 17, you think you're bulletproof, you think you're invincible, you think you're unstoppable. So the more they pushed me, the more I pushed myself.
Right.
But I have to give it to the NCO Corps, Non-Commissioned Officers Corps, and the drill instructors.
So that's basically like an NCO, is like what, a sergeant essentially, sergeant and higher?
Corporal.
Corporals, and the Army is an NCO then? Okay.
Yes.
And following your boot camp experience, so how did your parents react to the newly changed soldier that you became?
Oh, they were very proud. And I'm not the first one in my family to have joined the service.
Tradition?
My cousin was the first one that I'm aware of that joined the Army.
Okay. Did he influence you at all to possibly join? Did he bring back good stories?
Well, he came over when he was on leave one day, and I was a kid, and I saw him in uniform, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got to boot camp, even though probably difficult, but still very, productive, and you came back, with discipline and structure. And where did you actually fall in boot camp?
I went to advanced individual training. That's where I learned my communications intelligence MOS.
How long was that?
Oh, wow. I think we're talking back in 1990s, 1990. I can't recall exactly how many months it took.
Months, multiple months then. Wow. So what did that course entail?
A lot of stuff that it entailed is something, I think I cannot discuss.
Ah, okay, so classified information. Outstanding.
I mean, it may not be classified now, it may have been declassified, but at the time it was classified material, so I don't feel comfortable discussing it.
Okay, understandable. So did you require a top security clearance?
I had a top secret security clearance based on a special background investigation with access to sensitive compartmentalized information.
I heard basically for that because I'm interested in the intelligence field, and I also require a top security clearance. So they interview all of your family and they pull up everything pertaining to your past.
Yes, they interview neighbors, they interview friends, they interview enemies.
Do you think that's necessary though? Wouldn't you say?
Yes, it is.
Because that job requires it requires somebody who pledges allegiance to America and has no prior records, right?
That is true.
That's true, because in that job you're doing a lot of important stuff, right?
Oh, yes. And you can be tasked, like I was tasked by the brigade commander, to do something that's far above your pay grade.
Okay, so you're going beyond the call of duty.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that, what you had to do?
Well, I mean, being appointed assistant agency security manager for an entire brigade of over 4,000 people.
So what do you do? What did you do? per your job description?
For my job description, I didn't follow my job description. I followed the general's orders and the job description he laid out for me. So I wasn't necessarily acting in my MOS.
Okay. So, like through that job, did you travel often? Did it revolve around travel?
Yes, it involved traveling to security conferences and representing the brigade at workshops and security conferences with other government agencies.
Okay. So you were like a liaison between the Army and other agencies?
Yes.
Okay, so basically you represented the Army?
I represented the 157th Separate Infantry Brigade Mechanized at the time.
Okay. And you mentioned that you've been all over the world. Were there any places in particular that found your fancy, per se?
I enjoyed Korea. I enjoyed Marti Air Force Base, which I understand you're interested in the Air Force.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Marti Air Force Base was one of our LZs.
Okay, landing zones, okay.
And went there to their mess hall, or dining facility, as they call it.
Dining facilities, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and
It's good food, right?
Good food.
They
They
feed
had
you
the
well.
red carpet out. I mean, I was like, I think I may have joined the wrong service for a second there.
Yeah, I heard definitely their standard of living, the way they treat their airmen is top notch. But the Army treats you well too, wouldn't
Oh
you say?
yes, definitely. I'm just saying that in jest.
Yeah.
I enjoyed my time in the Army.
So in total, how long was it? 4 years, 6 years?
I would say a total of 6 years active and the remaining time in reserve.
Okay. So how was readjusting to civilian life after that?
Well, it wasn't that complicated. I do have some service-connected disabilities that occurred while I was in the service. I'm medicated for those disabilities, and it makes some of the symptoms that I experience with my disabilities are similar to the post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
But
Would you say that the military has taken care of you after your experiences with them? Have they provided the adequate care?
It has. The Veterans Affairs Administration has done wonders for me. They give me my medication for free. I'm 100% service connected, which that means for all intents and purposes I'm retired. And they do take care of them, veterans. Unfortunately, some veterans don't know to look for the VA.
Okay, so they're not familiar with it, or they don't.
So they have outreach programs.
Outreach programs.
And I'm looking to be involved in a stand-down program, which is an outreach program to find homeless and disabled veterans and get them to the right location where they can get the appropriate attention and care
Right.
they need. Because homeless and veteran are two words that should not be together.
Right, absolutely. So it seems to me that you were an excellent soldier and really went beyond the call of duty as indicated by your medals over there. Would you like to, explain what they represent and your ribbons as well?
Well, sure. Well, these are presidential unit citations, so they went with the unit that I was last with, which was 2nd Infantry Division, second to none.
Second to none.
Yeah. Starting from the lowest medal, this is the Korean Defense Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal for serving in time of combat.
Time of combat, okay. Which was?
Which was Gulf War I, Operation Desert Storm and Desert Shield. You get the National Defense Service Medal because you are a wartime era veteran.
Okay.
So they could deploy you at any time, and they give you the medal just as a reminder that they can deploy you at any time.
Right. You're at their discretion. Also,
Army Good Conduct Medal.
good conduct or good soldier.
And this is the Army Commendation Medal, and I have 3 of them. Each oak leaf cluster
Clusters, yeah.
identifies the additional medal for that. One of the oak leaf clusters, or one of the medals, is under review by congressional inquiry to be upgraded for meritorious service medal.
Wow. So it's very impressive. Also, your ribbon has kind of caught my attention. The one with the appears to be a Korean flag on it right there. Is that?
That's a Korean Presidential Unit citation.
Okay,
Yes.
so the government recognized what you did for their country. And also the blue ribbon, what is that for?
That's a Presidential Unit citation. So
Okay.
it recognized the unit as a whole, the 2nd
As a
Infantry Division as a whole.
Now, what about that cord on your left shoulder?
That was also a unit citation. It's a French fourier.
What's that, sorry?
A French fourier.
What's that mean?
Well, it's a cord that the French Army bestowed as a gift to the United States Army, 2nd Infantry Division, and other units down the line
Okay.
for past joint operations.
So actually, did you engage in any coalition operations with the French or any other nations?
With the Germans, I did.
Wait, really with the Germans, with the Bundeswehr and the Luftwaffe and stuff like that?
Well, it was a German, because I mentioned before, I trained reservists.
Okay.
It was a German reserve unit that came over to train with that reserve unit. And I was assistant operations sergeant for the training exercise
So
there.
would you say that like the German military or the European military is as adequate as our military? Or do you think that our military has more opportunities and strives for greater things?
Well, the German army has a fine group of soldiers, dedicated like any other soldiers are expected to be.
Okay.
But as an American, I have to say I'm proud to be an American, and I think we have the strongest and most intelligent military force in the world. Not to say anything against our allies.
Right.
I'm sure they feel the same way on their end of the
Absolutely.
pond.
And I think a lot of that is to do with our training, our standards of training. Like you mentioned, you had to go to training for several months just for your job, and then basic training accumulates, doesn't it? And isn't it true that the military, they constantly train you? Like you're
Yes.
constantly getting it
Yes, you're getting your, or at least when I was in, you were getting your evaluations, you get school opportunities. So it depends where your job, you know, and what unit you're with,
So-
what mission they have that they need you to fulfill.
Right. So did they start that like immediately, immediately during boot camp? They started with the test and the standards.
Yes, they start testing you right off of reception battalion as soon as you get off the bus. I had the fortunate opportunity of having a port of call at Fort Lost in the Woods, or Fort Leonard Wood.
Fort Leonard, isn't
Missouri.
that Missouri? Okay.
Yeah, and it was prior to shipping over to Korea. So I was getting my vaccinations and everything up to date. And
How is like the medical care in the military?
I think it's second to none, because you have soldiers looking out for soldiers, and they would care, and you have civilian personnel as well that are dedicated to the military personnel.
So the military basically possesses its own doctors and medical teams as well as like lawyers, right? Like JAG,
Yes,
Corps.
yes, yes. They have their own investigations department, CID, and you have military police.
With
and-
MP.
Yes.
So it's very large then, the military. Like they take care of you then.
Yes, they do. And if I could elaborate on what I was about to say.
Oh, my apologies. Yes.
No, that's quite all right. I had the luxury of seeing the new recruits coming in when they get off the bus in the reception battalion. And they sit them down, male and female, together, and they join them together. And I went there barking, assisting the drill sergeants, because I was there for a month. And I was called aside and told, we don't do that anymore. So they have different ways of training people now.
Okay.
Which may be more effective. I'm not sure. I can't evaluate that. I haven't had that experience.
Right. But it's definitely something to reminisce about. And actually, would you mind explaining some photos and bringing back some memories for us? And would you please bring it to your chest so we can see it?
Okay. This was my basic training photo, basic training graduation.
Okay, very nice.
Army dress greens.
Very spiffy.
That was Columbia, South Carolina, home of Fort Jackson.
Fort Jackson, okay.
Yeah, victory starts here.
That's the motto?
Yes. And
Where's that at?
this was at one of the LZs at the Tactical Operations Center for Operation Gallant Rush.
Okay, actually, I see another picture here. It depicts your flag.
Yeah, they call it a guidon.
Oh, your guidon, like basically the element leader has to march with that, right?
Yes, the guidon, and it's Operation Gallant Rush guidon. Task Force Hammer, part of doing Task Force 6.
And so I'm assuming you guys had, assistance from the air that helped you, like
Yes.
helicopter here?
I actually flew on this helicopter.
Oh, did you now?
Yes.
How was that experience for you?
It was fun.
Was it a rush?
It was fun. I was taking pictures of it.
Oh, actually.
Of the ground below as I had my rucksack.
Would this be one of those pictures that you actually took from up there?
Yep. This is an aerial view of us going to our operations center.
Could you please, yeah, it was actually upside down a little bit. There you go.
Down.
Yeah.
And
Bring it down a little bit. There we go.
there we go. Okay. It's aerial view of us en route to our mission, which was to conduct surveillance and recon and gather intelligence on drug traffickers, or you could say methane labs and things to that effect.
Okay, so did you engage in any other operations after that? Or was that like your last big hurrah in the military?
Well, I wouldn't say it was my last big hurrah in the military. I've had quite a few hurrahs in the military. And I enjoyed every moment of it. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for that experience, even though I did come back disabled, service-connected disabled.
Right, so how did they ship you home from your last deployment?
Well, my last deployment, I came back by commercial airliner, Korean Air.
Korean Air.
Yeah.
So basically, how do they go about that? Doesn't the military have like their own aircraft they can fly back on, or do they charter the flight?
Well, they can, but since it wasn't a hot spot as hot as it is now tensions are rising again.
But it was still a public airport, right, where you landed at?
Well, when I first got in country, we went by a chartered airplane.
Okay.
And we landed at Osan Air Base.
Where's that? Osan.
That's in the southern tip of Korea.
Oh, okay, but
when I got back from Korea, so I was coming to the States,
okay,
and they consider this the green zone, the greenest zone there is. I came by commercial carrier.
Commercial carriers, so like U.S. Airways.
Korean Air.
Korean Air.
Mm-hmm.
And was there anybody waiting for you at the airport?
I had friends that were waiting for me at the airport. And family couldn't make it at the time, but when I got home to the family, they were
To the
very happy
family.
to see me.
So was it difficult to readjust to that, to seeing your family again, getting back into a civilian set of mind?
Well, there's some habits that you pick up in certain environments that never leave you.
Never leave you?
I don't sit with my back towards the window. I don't like crowds that much,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like open spaces that much either.
Right. So after the military, was it difficult to find a new job, or did the military grant you and bestow upon you valuable training that translated over into the civilian sector?
Well, it translated over well into the civilian sector. It's just got to lose the military jargon. You've got to use more business jargon or language in your resume.
Right.
And they have a transition point where they assist you in writing your resume.
Okay, really?
Um,
Because that interests me immensely, because currently I'm in JROTC and I'm a civil air patrol, just got promoted to cadet second lieutenant, and I'm definitely interested in pursuing a career in the military. And one of the reasons is because I'm hoping that my training in linguistics can translate over into the into the civilian sector. Excuse me.
it can in business. It can.
Okay, that's actually what I wanted to get my degree in.
Or the federal government in the civilian capacity could use you as a linguist as well.
So like this.
And well, yeah, agencies like that. But they will count your military time towards your retirement time if you did that.
Okay, so basically, like, if I did, say, 4 years in the Air Force, I could go into the CIA, do 16 years, and I would be eligible to get my pension, because it's usually like 20 years, right?
Well, I don't know about the CIA's requirement for retirement.
Right.
But I do know that the military is 20 years for retirement.
20 years, and it's 20 years, basically, full benefits. And in the military, isn't it correct that you get 30 days paid leave?
Yes, 30 days paid leave. You can take them incrementally, or you can take them all at once.
Isn't it like 2.5 days per month?
Yes.
And actually, I have a question pertaining to like the flights. I heard basically you can just hop on a military aircraft and fly anywhere in the world as long as a flight's available.
Yes, the flight's available. And if you don't get bumped off by a senior ranking individual that happens to need the hop.
Oh, okay, so take precedence. Actually, since I'm in JROTC and Civil Air Patrol, actually I can enter as a higher rank as an E3. So I think that means more money. But like basically,
They will be looking to you for leadership.
for leadership,
Yeah, because you'll be going in as an E3, and most of the people are going in as E1s.
starting at basic training.
Starting at basic training. They will be looking to you for leadership.
So basically, like the drill instructors are gonna pick on me a little bit.
They may. They may appoint you squad leader.
Oh, okay.
Initially, right off the bat, because of your rank. And baptism by fire there. You know. And, you know, they teach you teamwork.
Teamwork.
And no one's as strong, no unit is as strong as the weakest link, you know?
Right.
So if somebody messes up, you all pay the price.
So teamwork, it's evident, it's paramount, and you know it's essential. But is there anything that you would recommend for somebody who wants to go to boot camp and wants to you know strive and do well in it? Any tips?
Well, start running, start jogging or running, doing sit-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, so that they can get themselves physically fit and ready to expect the physical fitness regimen that's part of boot camp or basic training.
I heard mentally, it's much more profound than physically, though. Like, it takes a mental toll on the minds.
Well, for some individuals, it does, but not necessarily. If you look at it as the drill sergeants are actually doing things for your betterment, and they're trying to build you up to be the best airman, marine, or sailor, or soldier that you can be.
Right. So a lot of it's PMA, positive mental attitude. Isn't that basically like the foundation of everything in the military?
Yes. No matter how tough it seems, the training is mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
So it seems like the military has very positively affected your life. Would you like to expound upon that at all?
Well, it got me very interested in giving back to the community.
Okay.
I mean, I gave to my country, so I gave back to my community. I was the CEO of a nonprofit organization called Casa Proc here in Vineland.
Okay.
From 2002 to 2003 for a year. And then I went and decided to travel to Miami.
Okay.
For a little bit, and then I returned back home. But prior to that, I held corporate jobs.
Okay.
In the business world.
So definitely lasting impacts. Has it taught you any life lessons that you still utilize to this day?
Yes, you lead by example.
Okay.
You lead by example. You don't ask anyone to do something that you're not willing to do yourself.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the core of it all. I mean, you keep your word.
Keep your word. Integrity.
Integrity, yes.
So now, is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything else that you'd like to bring to the viewers' attention?
No, I don't think there's much that I can bring to the viewers' attention other than what we discussed. Other than now, I'm a self-published author.
Okay, you wrote a book then. What's it called?
Phoenix Reborn.
Okay.
And it's about a veteran who's experiencing some mental trauma, and you have to decipher whether or not, as you read the story, whether the things that are happening are in his head or actually happening.
Okay. But I'd like to thank you for coming. It seems like the military has had a very profound impact upon your life, and I look forward to serving my country as well. And I'd like to thank you for watching another edition of the Veterans History Project. Please stay tuned to VPS TV on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Fios Channel 41 for more quality educational programming. And I'd like to wish you a good night.
Challenging, they have high criteria.
Maybe like